Hello everyone, Gamertag here, and today we're going to be running through Firered with just Beedrill. Now, I know back when I did the first part of the Pokemon Violet series, I said that the next one we were going to do was Pokemon Crystal with coughing, but I kind of ran into a slight problem, and that was just some of the footage corrupting when I tried to move it to a flash drive. So, about a month ago, I finally decided that it was time to upgrade my laptop so that I could get a computer that would run a little bit faster and enable me to do more things for videos. And when I tried to move some of the footage to the flash drive, it corrupted. Now, I will gladly still upload that even with the missing footage if that's something that those of you watching would like to see. Let me know down below, or I can just redo the run and I can move on to another challenge in the meantime. This also does mean, too, that we can finally do Pokemon Platinum, so if you've got any ideas, let me know in the comment section. Anyway, this is what we have to work with for this run, and I will tell you, it's not very good. So, we get, for bug moves, Twin Needle and Pin Missile. We also don't get a lot for coverage. I mean, Giga Drain and Brick Break are decent, we get Return, which is nice, but Sludge Bomb isn't until post-game. Oh yeah, I also found a shiny Caterpie. 1 in 8,192 odds, which is incredibly low, and it just randomly shows up. I can't use it, and I can't catch it to try to send to a baseline game since it's an emulator, so I just pawned it off as a sacrifice to the gods. Maybe that'll help us in this run, I'm not sure, but I also kind of felt that, maybe people would think I'm a madman if I KO'd a shiny, but, it also makes for maybe better entertainment. But now that we're level 20, we're going to go fight Brock. So I did try this battle quite a few times with Focus Energy and Fury Attack, but even with Focus Energy upping our crit chances, Fury Attack just wasn't hitting anywhere near hard enough. Thankfully, at level 20, he's incredibly easy, even if we got absolutely no crits with Twin Needle. Honestly, we were just way over leveled at that point, so it was, honestly, I wasn't even worried about losing. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention too, I didn't really show much with Weedle's stats, but if you missed it, we got an Adamant Nature, which is pretty good. Sure, it's going to hinder our special attack a little bit, but most moves that we're going to be using in this run outside of, maybe we might need Pursuit or something later, but most of them are going to be physical attacking moves anyway. We also picked up the Helix Fossil in Mount Moon. It's always been my preferred fossil, so I would say most of the time I'm going to pick up the Helix Fossil. Also, while it's on my mind, let me know down below what your favorite fossil is. For me, it's the Root Fossil. I've always absolutely thought Cradily and Lily were absolutely fantastic, so it's always been my favorite. So, the rival fight in Cerulean was a little bit annoying thanks to Pidgeotto hitting Sand Attack a couple times. It didn't really start to hurt us until later on in the Pidgeotto fight where we missed a Poison Sting and he was able to knock out half of our health in the process. But thanks to us being able to get 4 hits off Fury Attack and a crit against Charmander, we were able to end up pulling the fight out in the end. It did come incredibly close with Rattata hitting some quick attacks after we kept missing moves, but with 1 HP to spare, we were finally able to hit the Twin Needle and finish off Rattata and then go fight Misty. Now, because we have Twin Needle at this point, Misty isn't even really that hard. See, Starmie's part Psychic, so Twin Needle is, making her a non-issue. Sure, she has Water Pulse at this point, which has a 20% chance to confuse us, but she didn't confuse us, and she didn't even inflict that much damage, so we got a really easy win. It's actually kinda nice. Interestingly enough though, most bug types evolve early, so they're better for the early parts of the game. Ironically enough, we're at the early parts of the game, which means probably later on it's gonna become a little bit of a struggle. I gotta tell you, I am definitely dreading that Blaine fight, because a bug type against any fire gym leader is probably gonna be a nightmare. But in the meantime, we're going to completely take no damage against our rival in the SSN. Sure, maybe Charmeleon could have actually done something, but he just went for Growl. It wasn't going to matter if he actually used Ember, we weren't going to have any issues with that fight regardless. I mean, even if he burned us, we would have probably been able to take out Raticate pretty easily with a Brick Break. Also, Lieutenant Surge was really easy. So for some reason, anybody else that I watch do some of these challenges, like J-Rose or Madry Bread, Lieutenant Surge, for some reason, is generally really easy. And I don't know if it's just because a lot of his team is frail, because Pikachu and Raichu aren't that good in defense, but I really feel like most people don't struggle with Lieutenant Surge. Now, this hiker didn't use, well, I mean, we swept him with Brick Break, but normally in Generation 1 he likes to blow up, so maybe I should take Beedrill to Generation 1 to compare the two runs. But before we can advance too much further, we have to go to Lavender Town and do another rival fight. Now, he does have a Gyarados this time, but for the most part I wasn't really that worried about this fight. Kadabra and Execute and even Charmeleon aren't really much of an issue at all, and we even crit Brick Break on Charmeleon. Gyarados could be a potential problem, even with Thrash, but he ends up getting himself confused. We start going for Fury Attack, he hits himself, and then we crit Fury Attack a couple times to finish him off. You know, that could have been problematic now that I think about it. Maybe this is bad news for later fights. Anyway, Rocket Hideout Giovanni Fight was really easy. All of his Pokemon are weak to Brick Break, and we just simply destroy all of them. I find it interesting that he has a Kangaskhan instead of something like Sandslash. I mean, even having Nidoking or Nidoqueen this early would be kinda nice, and it actually, I think, make the fight a little bit tougher. But hey, you know what? I guess it's fine that he had a Kangaskhan. We swept him pretty easily anyway. I mean, I'm kinda not surprised though. A lot of his Pokemon, like Onix, has really bad attack, and Rhyhorn is, well, just Rhyhorn. Also, Erika was really easy. We have Return at this point, and we can one-shot everything on our team and then take out Tangela with Twin Needle. Honestly, I knew this fight was going to be easy the moment I started because, let's be honest, Grass is double resisted by Beedrill at this point, and we're pretty over-leveled here, so I wasn't worried. Oh yeah, PSA to let you know the Safari Balls still suck. They're better in this game, but just honestly, catching any Pokemon with full HP is kind of a struggle regardless, but I always felt like Great Balls were better than this. I mean, I just feel like catching a Nidoran male with a Great Ball should be almost a guarantee. I mean, maybe Execute or possibly Doduo I can understand, but I had stuff like Nidoran male still breaking out. It was crazy. What's also crazy is the rival fight in Silph. So thankfully no Sand Attack, but he does hit 2 Wing Attacks for a big chunk of our health. But we take him out. Execute obviously is going to go down to a single Twin Needle, since it's 4 times weak. Alakazam also goes down to Twin Needle thanks to its, glass defense. Charizard we luck out and we crit a return for a one-shot. We definitely would have went down if that didn't happen. I thought we might lose until Gyarados just threw the fight with Dragon Rage that always does 40 HP. Now Dragon Rage isn't terrible at all points of the game, but at this point it would take 4 Dragon Rages for us to actually be taken out, so it's pretty bad. Oh yeah, Lapras wants to let you know that if you're enjoying the video so far, hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell for notification of future videos. So we're going to go fight Koga now, and since we're part poison, he can't even use Toxic on us. Not that he really got too many opportunities to do it. Muck did kind of try to troll with Minimize a little bit, but even with his Hyper Potions, it really didn't matter. Now he does have Acid Armor and does use it a little bit later. That might have possibly prolonged how long Muck could have stayed alive, but I don't think we were really in any danger at any point in the run. I mean, with this amount of health, I think even if Weezing would have used Self-Destruct, we would have won no problem. It's kind of nice, actually. Unfortunately, that's going to turn sour now that we're at Blaine. I also want to let you know, by the way, that I did lose the Sabrina footage, but we just swept our whole team with Return anyway, so there wasn't really much to talk about. However, Blaine is a different story. So, normally in Generation 1, Blaine's AI is notoriously horrendous. However, in this game, he actually has AI, which means that this fight is really difficult. So it's bad enough having 2 Pokemon that drop our attack, with Intimidate being Arcanine and Growlithe, but he also has Fire Blast, which will 2-shot me at any point. Growlithe crit us, so I just reset at this point because any hit's gonna KO us, and I don't think he's gonna miss enough Fire Blasts. So again, he's gonna lead Growlithe as he always does. Thought, okay, well, maybe I'll go for Focus Energy. He hits Fire Blast, and we just reset. Now, I can take probably 1 Fire Blast. The main issue that I'm having is the fact that I don't want to take just 1 Fire Blast. At this point, I was like, okay, well, I have to at least see how it goes. I can't just rely on Fire Blast missing all the time. So Ponyta's out, we take it out with a return, Rapidash comes out, and we end up taking it out return with a crit. I'm like, oh my god, Focus Energy is actually doing something. This is amazing. So we hit return, Fire Blast misses, another Fire Blast miss, and we can finally take him out with return. Jeez. Okay, that only took me like 10 tries, but it's finally out of the way. Now we can go fight Giovanni. And he just hits Scary Face. So I'm not sure if Scary Face actually has 90% accuracy, but I believe I saw somewhere that it does. Oh yeah, I just want to let you guys know that I definitely don't have Giga Drain. It's certainly not the TM I got from Erika. There's no way I would be forgetting about it. And it's certainly not going to come into play at some other point when we're facing a Rhydon. You know, like the last fight in the game where the champion has a Rhydon. It's certainly not going to come into play in that fight specifically. But we end up losing because of it. Now, I still forgot about Giga Drain at this point. So I was like, okay, well, we can still get this win. I know we can still get it. So he's going to Scary Face. We're going to Brick Break. He Earthquakes. We just reset him. Like, okay. Does Scary Face still have 100 accuracy? At this point, I was like, no, we're just going to get this win anyway. So we Focus Energy. We crit for the 1-shot. Rhyhorn's out. We actually crit. I'm like, okay, this is amazing. We're actually getting crits. Now, Dugtrio is the one thing I'm not worried about at all since its defense is horrendous. I think its defense is 35 or 40. It might be about like as bad as Beedrill's. But we finally end up winning this time. And a lot of it's because we actually got some crits. Now, I did only have 6 HP left when we won the fight. But we won the fight. So that's really all that matters. But we can't quite go to the Pokemon League yet because we have to do one last required rival fight. And by one last required, I mean every rival fight in this game's required. But it's going to be interesting because Charizard is still a thing, and it's going to be a thing. So Pidgeot hits Wing Attack, doing about 1/4 of our health. I'm like, okay, well, do I go for Focus Energy or do I just take him out with like Return or Brick Break? And I kind of mulled the decision a little bit, and I was like, no, we have to just take him out with Return. It's silly to let him possibly attack. So we're just going to go for Return and one-shot Alakazam, no surprise. Rhyhorn's out next, and we just go for Focus Energy. So, interestingly enough, he went for Takedown and took Recoil. I'm like, wait a minute. His Rhyhorn has a Lightning Rod? Why does he have Lightning Rod? He's already immune to electric moves. And you never face him in double battles where Lightning Rod would actually make sense. I don't understand why he doesn't have Rock Head. Anyway, we were able to get through the rest of the fight. No problem. We even crit Charizard. I know, crazy. I still can't believe we had less issues with that fight than the Silph one. Maybe it's the level? I don't know. But before we go off to the Pokemon League, though, I thought I'd catch not 1, not 2, not 3, but several. I believe it was 5 Meowth that I caught. Now, Meowth have the pickup ability, which after every battle, it has a 10% chance to pick up an item. One of those could be a rare candy, and one of those could also be TM10, which is Hidden Power. Now, I don't know what the Hidden Power is. There's no way to actually check it, unless you're just KOing Pokemon and finding all the resistances and stuff. But in later games, starting in, I think it was Generation 6, you could actually go to an NPC and have them tell you what your hidden power was. So it's a little bit more tedious, to actually check what it is. But honestly, as long as we get something decent, like, not hidden power fighting. I mean, Bug and Grass isn't ideal either, but really, as long as we get something that's slightly better than Pursuit, like Hidden Power Steel, I wouldn't honestly mind. Sure, it doesn't help us for Charizard, but it's still better than nothing, and we have to fight Agatha in the Elite Four, and I am dreading that fight. We don't really have anything that we can do to her. I mean, okay, we learned Pursuit, but Pursuit is terrible because it's special attack. I also want to say that Hidden Power, if it's Ghost, is perfect. But let's see how everything else goes. So Loreli's up first and she has Ice types, which means it's mostly going to be us spamming Brick Break. So Dugong goes down to a single Brick Break. Twin Needle doesn't quite take out Slowbro as it goes for Amnesia. Now I went for Focus Energy here, which I didn't know if it'd be a good play or not. Twin Needle doesn't take out Slowbro and then she uses Yawn, which means we're going to be asleep a little bit later in the fight. Now, I thought Focus Energy might help me get some crits. Of course, Cloyster goes for Protect, which is just kind of just cheese, so that's going to put us asleep. Now, the good news is Cloyster can't really do any damage to us. I mean, sure, she has Hail, but outside of that, it doesn't have Surf. It has, I think, like Icicle Spear and something else. Honestly, I think Cloyster's the most useless Pokemon she has. I mean, sure, Jinx is frail and is the easiest thing to take down, but Jinx can actually do damage, unlike Cloyster. But Lorelei was pretty easy, and now we can fight the always useless Bruno. Now, there probably are occasional instances where one can lose to Bruno, but most of the time Bruno is trash. I also find it hilarious that he's the fighting type trainer and doesn't even have a Poliwrath. Or a Primate. I mean, I get it. Those are the only two fully evolved fighting types that he's missing on his team, but Onix is not very good and has worse attack than a Bellsprout. And it's not a fighting type. Now, if you're going off of, types in the Pokemon trading card game, then sure, the fighting types and the rock types are all the same. But we're not. So I did want to mention, you know how I said Agatha would be horrendous? Here you go. So we can't do any damage to her at all. I know we have Focus Energy and I know we have Twin Needle, but if her Gengar just didn't use Double Team so much, we could actually do damage and hit her. Sure, she's not doing a lot of damage to us, which is fine, but if she just didn't have Double Team, we might stand a slight chance in this fight. Like, it's gonna take her 6 or 7 moves just to even do enough damage to take us out. Which is insane. Like, she's hit us twice and she's done a total of 63 damage. Now, I believe she does have Nightshade, but even with a crit, it's taking a crit for her to actually do amazing damage. So despite landing on a very nice amount of health, we were no match for her trolling. We couldn't even get through the first Gengar because of her Hyper Potions and Double Team, so we had to take a loss. If she just didn't have Double Team, we might have been able to get through a Gengar, but there was no way we were getting through a second Gengar and a Haunter. So, we're gonna see what Hidden Power is. And fingers crossed that it's something good. I mean, all we really need is something like a Spearow to test it against, and that'll pretty much tell us. Like, if it's immune, it's Ghost or Ground, which Ground isn't ideal either, but I guess if it's super effective to her, that's a little bit better. But unfortunately, she resisted, which means it's Bug or Grass, which are the two worst possible options for Hidden Power. I just want to point out how horrible they are. I mean, it's not as bad as, well, actually, I don't know. Does that seem worse than fighting to you? Because we already have Brick Break, and most of Agatha's team is immune to fighting anyway, but I feel like Bug is just a slap in the face. Like, even if it's grass, that doesn't even help me. Anyway, we went back to 2 Island to tutor Pursuit. However, we're still at level 90. Yes, at level 90, we finally are able to break through this ungodly nightmare. So I tried this at 85, and we still couldn't even do enough to Gengar to even get through both of her Gengars. We got through the first one, and then got through Golbat and Haunter, but the second Gengar, we just couldn't quite do enough damage to take her out. We ended up critting a Pursuit, and she put us asleep, and had a Citrus Berry, but she's not even doing close to enough damage to even take us out. Even with a crit, she can't even hit hard enough to actually put a dent in Beedrill to try to take us out. Arbok we crit and take out for a return, and we can finally move on to this fight and go fight Lance. Now I'm curious how that fight's gonna go, not just because we're level 90, but because we're at -1 attack for the entire fight since he leads Gyarados. So I didn't really know if how I wanted to, like, if I wanted to focus energy on Gyarados or just go for return. I'm like, okay, well, 2 returns will take him out. We'll just go for that. Now, the interesting thing with Generation 3 is the AI is very different. So in Red and Blue, they send them out very differently, and they just send them out. However, in Generation 3, they'll send out Pokemon if they have a move that's strong against you. So he sends out Dragonite and then Aerodactyl right after Gyarados, which is good because it allows us to actually work through the threats sooner rather than later. Which is really good because I would not want, like, me feeling good and then all of a sudden we get picked off by Dragonite at the end. Now, I was a little bit worried when I saw that we weren't actually going to one-shot Dragonair, but we weren't really in any danger since Outrage couldn't do enough to actually finish us off, even if it hit twice. But with that done, it's finally time to try to win at the Pokemon League. So, I was feeling great until I found out that his Pidgeot still has Feather Dance. I hate that he has Feather Dance. I mean, I'm going to be resetting anytime he uses it because at -2 attack, we can't do enough to take out anything. But the main issue is the fact that he still has Feather Dance. Like, he would learn this as a Pidgeotto. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong though, but I'm pretty sure it's done as a Pidgeotto. Because I think 34 is Feather Dance, because Wing Attack is at an earlier level. I don't, it's been a while since I've actually used a Pidgey in a playthrough. Anyway, I'm annoyed that he still has Feather Dance because, like, Steel Wing was available. He teaches it Aerial Ace, which is a TM. Why can't he just teach Steel Wing? Then it'd be less I'd have to reset for this fight. But we're able to get through it. Alakazam is obviously a one-shot with return because his defense is awful. Rhydon just goes for Earthquake. Now, he does have Scary Face, because of course he does. And of course, I want to just let you know that it still never once missed. Still confident it had 90 accuracy. But we get through it. Unfortunately, Charizard finishes us off with Fire Blast and we lose. Unfortunately, that's where it ends. Because unfortunately, what ended up corrupting was the last part of the footage. I mean, I know we lost Sabrina, and I know we lost one of the Giovanni fights, but this is kind of one of the most important fights, and I'm just really sad that it didn't actually fully transfer over. I will tell you, though, as you saw the Hall of Fame, that I did have to teach Giga Drain because Scary Face never missed. Amazingly enough, though, once I Giga Drained and got all the health back from Rhydon, or most of it, Charizard came in and just threw the fight with Slash. Amazingly, it's almost like the rival knows how overrated Charizard is. Look, personally, his design, like, I don't know, okay? I just wanted to throw a little bit of shade at Charizard for throwing the fight. But I'm just wondering if maybe, like, can you scare NPCs? Like, did we scare him with Giga Drain? Like, did he see Giga Drain and think, oh, crap, I can't win now, and then just tell normally the AI is, like, he should be programmed to use Fire Blast there. Anyway, a very anticlimactic ending. It would have just been nice to have the footage, but, you know, accidents happen, and I'm just glad I could still get this run out anyway. I just want to say that I underestimated this run in some spots. But I am glad that I can do this, and that I can also say suggest Gen 4 if you want to see Gen 4. Or anything. I'm not sure about Gen 5, but anyway, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.